Ahoy! More fun up ahead as we go towards the cards that are red. I do not want this hair in my mouth. This is so annoying. What rhymes with mouth? Anyway, let's continue the Unchained series with the Ace in the Hole. Okay, this is another playing card themed card. Again, you set up a shuffle deck of playing cards if you don't already have. During your upkeep, reveal the two top cards of that deck, put them in a face-up pile. So you pretty much keep flipping cards over, and when you flip over an ace, you get to do 4 damage to something. So it's a sort of burn spell, but really conditional and really awkward. Now we're gonna get to some of the body-themed cards, I guess, because this actually does have some sort of interaction. It does actually keep, like, some other cards in mind. Angry Amputees. Yeah, amputee is someone who has a limb amputated. You can't control I can't believe I actually had the urge to write this. You can't control a number of angry amputees that's greater than the number of arms you have. Maybe if someone who is an amputee is playing and they have one arm, then they can't have more than one of these. Which is kind of unfair. Then I think there was also that 3-armed baby who would benefit from this. When angry amputees enter the battlefield, you choose target arm. Okay, I want to see if I can... You choose one of your arms, you have to put it behind your back, and you have to leave it there, otherwise you sacrifice the amputees. So you get a 4/4 for 3 mana. Again, this is more power and toughness for the mana cost, so that's good, but you're going to have to play the game with just one hand. Most likely your dominant one. So I would actually get my left hand out, and because I'm left-handed, I am like some sort of prodigy of the devil. I get complained about for listening to this kid at full blast. Well, actually, I like the Angry German Kid parody series, but I'll talk more about that when it's time. Angry German Kid. Okay, that's kind of overcosted for the creature, and also overcosted for the equipment, because I wonder how much it would probably cost, like a good couple bucks to replace the... Especially if you destroy the computer or the monitor, that would cost you even more. It would be more cost effective to destroy the keyboard or the mouse. And if you do it and pay the mana, you get to do 6 damage to something, which is a lot. Consider you start with 20 life in most games, unless you're playing EDH or something. You usually start with 20 life, so yeah, 6 is a lot of damage. That would probably kill most creatures too, for damn sure. I had to put him in, because he's so good. Eminem. Creature, human musician, because yes, that's what he is. He is a 2/1 for 3 mana, that's not good, but then... When you read the ability, he actually, of course he does something. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may say, guess who's back? Back again? That creature's name, then is back. This is actually referring to one of his songs in which he raps, guess who's back, 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 back again, again, Shady's back, 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 tell a friend. And instead of saying Shady, you say whatever name of creature you are playing. Again, imagine if you're playing our market research shows that people like really long card names and so on and so forth. I could just totally imagine somebody playing this and then playing that card with the long name and saying, guess who's back, 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 back again, again. Our market research shows that players like really long card names, so we made this card to have the absolute longest card name ever. Elemental is back. Just to put 1/1/1 counter on it. I don't know if that would be worth it in the end if the card's name is that damn long. Now, I hope there is no sort of card that triggers like whenever a card is flipped. As I said earlier, the flip mechanic was only ever appeared in Champions of Kamigawa, so there are very few instances of this. And this card is really not useful. It's a 1/1 for 1 that lets you please flip the card. Lets you flip the card, and then when we flip it, the flip side lets you flip the card. Okay, it's back to normal. And the flavor text says, this is how you keep a numbskull entertained for many hours. This is actually based on a joke where the answer to it is, give him a piece of... Okay, the joke is, how do you keep a numbskull entertained for hours? I just said it. Answer is, give him a paper with please turn over on both sides. This is that in card form, essentially. You can flip it right side up, upside down as many times as you want, yet that will do nothing, so why bother? Now, unless you are at home or someone else's home, This will not exactly work out so well. Hell's Kitchen. Yes, this is also based on Enter the Dungeon. Another magic card that actually start a sub-game underneath the kitchen table. Oh, not kitchen table, but just the table. This is similar. Start a sub-game of magic in the kitchen. Also, the winner takes 2 cards from the loser's sideboard and gains ownership of them. I'll talk more about that with our next card that's based on this. Yup, this was actually pretty quick. Jack Quire. Stephen Quire's younger brother. All other creatures named Stephen Quire get +2/-2. They gain power, but they lose toughness because they become berserk. Because Jack Quire likes to piss off his brother and film it for our entertainment. The flavor text, It's Secretly Me, actually refers to Greatest Freakout Ever 2, which Steven was playing an online game and somebody kept killing him despite the fact they were on his team, which he'd be yelling, "Stop freaking betraying me, I'm on your team!" And it turns out that at the beginning of the video, Jack Quire says that it's actually him killing his own brother just to piss him off, and also filming it for our amusement. Now that I think of it, a bunch of those Stephen Quire videos have something to do with Jack Quire pissing him off. Now I actually kind of feel bad for him. Unless it's all staged anyway. Moving on. Jackass Gambler. To believe I actually wrote out the power and toughness in words. 4, 2. And they look so cramped. When Jackass Gambler... yes, we're going back with the ante-theme here. I explained it in part 1 with ante that this was a concept in Magic where people would ante the top card of the library, put it in the pool, the loser loses their ante and the winner takes it from them. This was abolished in 1995. People complained about the whole games of chance thing, so it's been gone for 20 years, but I actually wanted to refer to it and use it a bit in the context of this little event here. Lightning Boots. Okay, I'm gonna actually have to explain a bit here. If it would move a distance, it moves twice that distance. I actually want to make a sort of game board for Unchained. It was going to be 10 by 12 and for 2 players only. One player would get 1/2 of the board. Well, actually, they'd get like 1/2, like, take away a row. And then, like, the other person would get the other half, also take away a row. The 2 extra rows would be called Switzerland. I would have nicknamed them Switzerland because that's sort of the peaceful place where nobody can play any sort of creatures or... yeah. Anyway. There was also something about creatures moving as activated abilities, but only as a sorcery. And this pair of boots will actually let them move at twice the distance. Now, something that's going to be, like, more self-explanatory. Midnight Crew Imps. That cost a shit ton of mana. 7 mana for something that's power and toughness isn't always the same. But here it is. Midnight Crew Imps' power and toughness are each equal to the current month number. I actually took the idea from another unhinged, called Elvish House Party, which have a power and toughness each equal to the current hour using the 12-hour system. You can go look at that if you want. Anyways, this is a very similar idea. So right now we are November 30th. So, as of this recording, this would be an 11/11 for 7 mana. Tomorrow, it would become a 12/12 over the course of the night, just because we're transitioning into December. Yes, I'm recording this on the 30th, and December is tomorrow. And the flavor text says that rumor has it that New Year's celebrations are actually a series of imp-killing rituals. Because the 12th month is December, and the 1st is January. We just roll around back to January on New Year's, in which these would be a 12/12, but after New Year's Day, they become 1/1. Absolutely shit. Especially considering the card costs 7 mana. All hail the mighty Lord Egotist. Okay, I gave you one of the cards from RuneScape early by accident. I didn't think I put the border on it, but here you go. Yes, I am very fond of NightmareRH. Well, especially the parts where he dies and destroys computers are fucking hilarious. This card art is actually probably from one of the most renowned NightmareRH freakouts. PKing Vid 21, Staff of Light. Yes, he is holding a chainsaw, and behind him are pieces of the broken door he chainsawed down and kicked. This is when he died for a staff of light from a barrager. Yell a NightmareRH quote. You actually need to watch NightmareRH to know what those quotes are, and you're probably going to need to swear, so if you're playing with kids, then don't play NightmareRH. Simple as that. Destroy target artifact. I guess because artifacts resemble machinery, and computers are machinery. Yeah, it's flavorful, and of course you can't repeat quotes, because that would be lame. Also, the flavor text is referring to how much he swears, and also the fact that he calls all the people in RuneScape that use the range attack style, that shoot arrows, crossbow bolts, he calls them hippies. Yeah. In episodes 19 and 20 of the PKing vids, he's been complaining about how all the hippie rangers keep killing him. And he blames them for why he destroys his computers. And here's alternate art, old frame, rarer. Also, coincidentally, also involves the door getting destroyed. Now then, something less crazy. Then again, it's still pretty crazy. Punk. Another sort of musical incarnation. A legendary enchantment. And it is pretty damn powerful. Not that it doesn't suffer from summoning sickness, so as soon as you play this, you can use it. You can only use it once per turn, unless you have something on tap permanent, but yes. Once a turn, you can take any creature and then turn it into a 1/1 red creature named Punk Fanatic. Yes. It also loses all of its other abilities, so you can take any creature and then just turn it into this useless dude. And also, it can't attack unless punk music is playing. Let's go even further. I mean, turning it into a 1/1 and taking away the abilities is crazy enough. But I think this is just icing on the cake with it not being able to attack unless punk music is playing. Now that is a really specific condition. I mean, if they don't play punk music wherever you go. Anyway, just... Seduce. I was actually going to draw some art for this card, but never got around to it. Seduce. May only target a player of the opposite gender. They skip their next turn because they are seduced by you. Fun fact, I was actually planning to draw some somewhat sexual art for this one. I actually want to draw two of my favorite Toho characters, which I imagine would be so cute as a pairing, Rumia and Mystia, getting it on. Yeah, even though it kind of flies in the face of how Seduce may only target someone of the opposite gender when those two characters are both chicks. Moving on before I become too much of a pervert on camera. Okay, here's a Toho card. I was gonna save these for later, but yeah, let's just go with the Toho stuff. Singyoku, I think that's pronunciation, I don't know. So we have, yeah, Singyoku shifts between male and female. Yeah, one of the few male characters in the Toho series, technically. There's also Rinosuke, and they're like, I think the other two are deceased or something. The female half, like, during each turn you flip to the male if you have the female, and then and vice versa. Like, if you're female, you get +1/+1 on the female side, and if you're male, you get +1/+1 on the male side. I also picked blue for boy, and actually, I would have picked pink, but red was close enough, so I picked red for girl and blue for boy. Because those are typically the colors you use to represent genders. Stephen Quire. This is from that greatest freakout ever, where his mom cancels World of Warcraft account. And this one screenshot that I took with this exact pose is just priceless. He's like, I'm trying to do it. I look like such a moron. And I never even got around to putting abilities on Stephen Quire, so it just says insert abilities here. I can never think of anything I was thinking of maybe having shoving a remote up your butt be like part of some cost to play some ability, but who would shove a remote up their ass for the sake of winning a Magic game? The flavor text is one of his more famous quotes, also from that episode where he's being betrayed, where he gets so mad he yells at the person, I will kill you and eat your firstborn child! His younger brother pretending to be some stranger on the internet. Yes. Thunderclap. Remember how I was talking about the angry amputees earlier? Where you had to put an arm behind your back? if you were playing the amputees, you would kind of be screwed in regards, because how the hell can you clap with one hand? You have to clap in addition to the mana cost to do 3. Okay. This is strictly worse than Searing Spear, which is strictly worse than Lightning Bolt. Then again, Lightning Bolts is like way too good for most formats anyway, so yeah. The drawback isn't that huge, but if you're playing the amputees or one of the other cards that I have in this unset, then this is a huge drawback. Other than that, no. Word explosion! Kaboom! You could be a real dick and just choose a conjunction like and, a pronoun like I, and like how people would then be saying like me draw, me cast creature, me attack, so they don't get burned for the 3 life. Now let's go green. Because we need to, otherwise this world's gonna die out on us. Not so gentle giant. He is a... Well, actually his power varies. He's always 2 toughness. He's 4 mana. And I'm thinking usually a 4-2 for 3 mana is average, but then again, it's not that good. 5-2 for 4 mana, we're getting there. His power is equal to your height in feet. So if you are really tall, then this is a good thing. If you are Robert Wadlow, then you will kick ass with this card. If you are Gul Muhammad, then unfortunately this will be a horrible piece of crap for you. Also, it's got trample if you're at least 6 feet tall. That too. Self-serving Taco. 3-3 for 2 mana. With a drawback that when it dies, you put it in the opponent's sideboard to give them ownership of it. This is what I was talking about with this sideboard thing. I'm going to show you one more card and explain what the whole sideboarding system was in further depth. Another 3-3 for 2 mana with a drawback. Oh boy. When he enters the battlefield, exile the top card of your library, and you have to balance it on your head. Let's do this now. I'll just take a random magic card, and I'll balance it on my wizard hat. And if it falls off, then I'll sacrifice the trapeze artist. It would be kind of cheating if you just put your card on a wizard hat, because I think that would be, like, easier to balance it on. But hey, I'm gonna cheat. Welcome to my treehouse. I'll draw spell in green. Unusual. The effect, more unusual. Draw a card. Draw 3 cards instead, if you can spot a real tree within 5 seconds. So if you're playing in the forest, this is a good card to have. There are so many trees, you cannot deny it. Word Absorber, which is supposed to be an ooze, sure. That whenever it comes in the battlefield, you choose a word. Whenever an opponent says the chosen word, put 1/1 counter on Word Absorber. Again, this would actually be really funny with the albatross that screams albatross, especially if there are many albatrosses written on already. So let's say you play this, the opponent's got their albatross, and they have to scream albatross, say like 4 or 5 times. If they want to keep their little 2/2 bird, they're going to make your Word Absorber a 6/6/7/7 or something like that. It also does interact with some of the other cards. Like this interacts with the albatross. Grammatical Mess, which is supposed to be a human effigy. An odd choice of a card type, honestly. It's a 5/5 for 4 mana. Good. I just heard the card fall off my head. If I was playing the Trapeze Artist, he would be sacrificed. Goodbye, Trapeze Artist. I knew you well. Grammatical Mess. The card has typos and errors on it. And there are skipped lines. This is intentional because you actually have to correct the words with errors on it. Otherwise, you sacrifice it. Like, once you run out of words to go correct, like, there are actually, like, I'm going to count the mistakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's actually a 7th mistake. Look how creature is spelt wrong. I threw that in just in case if you're not looking hard enough. This is not a creature, it is a creature. So I wonder if you would technically be allowed to search for this with Green Sun Zenith or Court of Calling. I doubt it. Oh yeah, I'll just talk about RuneScape some more. Pointless updates. Yes, a card that multiplies all life totals by 10, all powers and toughnesses of creatures by 10, all non-combat damage by 10, and all life loss also by 10. If I wrote this out correctly, it should be exactly pointless. There should just be a 0 on the end of every number in the game. This is directly referencing when Jagex updated their hit point skill and changed it to Constitution, multiplying your life by 10, all the hit splats and all the healing by 10, and pissed off a lot of players. People complaining about how pointless this is and how arbitrary it is, and even people shouting, rioting in Faladar Square shouting, "It's hit points, not life points!" Repurpose. A fairly expensive removal spell, but a pretty powerful one at that. You exile target creature, and not just that, you also remove them from the rest of the game. If I haven't said this already, let's say you're playing a 3-round event, someone repurposes your best creature on the first round, you don't get to use that creature for the rest of the event. So, round 2, round 3, you can't use it. It's gone. Alright, moving on to a more positive note than losing your best card in the first round. I think they're actually known as Dale Mender or something, but they're pretty well known for their song Tunuk Tunuk Tun. Well, if you follow the Angry German Kid parody series, you'll definitely know about Tunuk Tunuk Tun, and how the Angry German Kid hates that song. Hell, I even just recently added this other piece of rules text saying that creatures named Angry German Kid, I already showed him earlier in the video, he's there, creatures named Angry German Kid attack you each turn if able, because makes sense, you were the one with Tunuk Tunuk's Tun, so you're going to send the AGK pretty much coming after you. Which is actually a good thing, because he is weaker than they are. This is a 5-5. These people are pretty damn powerful. Also, when you win a game with these guys under your control, you may force the opponent that you beat to listen to the song Tunuk Tunuk Tun. If they are the Angry German Kid, this will be really effective in pissing them off. Last card I think has to do with the sideboard. Blackest Lotus. I wanted to go further with the Black Lotus parodies. Okay, we have the original Black Lotus, costs 0 mana, you tap it to add 3 mana of any one color in your mana pool, but you have to sacrifice it. Unglued satirizes that with Blacker Lotus, also 0 mana, but you then have to sacrifice it and also tear it up into little bitty pieces. Like so. Yeah, this is just some random uncommon, no big deal. And you would add 4 mana of any one color to your mana pool. And then I tried to go even further. 0 mana, artifact, and instead of sacrificing it or ripping it up, you give it to your opponent, put it in their sideboard, and it becomes their card until they use it against somebody else, which would then become the other person's card. Add 5 mana of any one color to your mana pool. Okay, that's actually a scary thought. I mean, 3 mana is crazy enough. Now 5. Again with the moving cards across the board. This is something that I hadn't really put much thought about. I think there are only a couple cards that reference it, like maybe 3 in the whole set. This is the Gluminizer. If a permanent would move a certain distance, it instead moves half that distance, and we round down. This is actually not a card, this is actually referring a die. Singular of dice. Die as in the cube you roll, not like to have your life be end. Be end. This is referencing a die called Gluminizer in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Spin-off Dungeon Dice Monsters, where you have to roll dice to summon creatures, open up the dice, and place them on a board. There's also this whole notion of needing movement crests, which you get by rolling the dice. Like, certain faces of the dice give you movement crests, depending on, well, which dice they are. And you need to use 1 movement crest to move a monster 1 space. But Gluminizer doubles all the movement costs for every player, for both of them. And this is essentially doing the same thing, but on our Unchained game board. Snow Globe of Untimely Death. Satirizing a Christmas-themed parody magic card that is not tournament legal and is very rare and costs a lot of moolah. And yes, you actually have to, let me get another card, you actually have to tap it, untap it, tap it, untap it, You actually have to shake the card around a few times. Much like how you have to shake around the snow globe to get the snow to start flying around in it. And there was also, I think it was called Snow Mercy, that card. The one you do tap on tap. Yeah, this is actually the same sort of little running. This is the same joke. Tap on tap target permanent. Creatures deal no combat damage this turn. Also suggests in the flavor text that Christmas has taken a much darker and more sadistic turn. I can't believe this exists. Who would name their mop the stupid child efficiency mop? I have to wonder if this was actually photoshopped. Stupid child. Legendary artifact, clean target floor, sacrifice the mop, you gain 10 life. Of course, you need to actually have a mop to wash someone's floor, or you gotta get on your knees with a washcloth and stuff. I think I'd rather use a mop the floor, gain some life. I know. And it's legendary. You can only have there can only be one stupid child efficiency mop. It is that monumental and legendary. Towers of Hanoi. This is not okay, this actually does reference Call of Duty, but this isn't exactly the Call of Duty stage Hanoi we're talking about here. We're talking about the Towers of Hanoi puzzle. This is actually a puzzle you gotta solve using recursion concept in computer science. You set up this puzzle. We're gonna do it with 4 cans here, say. During your upkeep, well, anyway, I'll explain the puzzle. So you have 3 places to go put the cans. You start on one side with 4 cans, and then you have to move all the cans from the left side to the right side. You can only move 1 can at a time. You can't place a bigger can on top of a smaller can. And yeah, I think those are the only rules you need to know about doing the puzzle. Essentially, you get to try and solve the puzzle with your spare mana. Of course, the more moves you make, the more mana it costs to do each one. And if you solve the puzzle, you win the game. As I said, I was referring to Call of Duty with the flavor text. I'm not talking about the prison camp, bitch. Because there is actually a map in Call of Duty known as Hanoi, Vietnamese prison camp. Disney World! This is going to be the last card for this part. There will be a part 3 with all the game-specific stuff. And also some of the other ideas that I had that I'll share with you. So, Disney World is a legendary land. Just as legendary as the stupid child efficiency mop, Prognatus, and Miracle, and all those other things. Yeah, this is going to cost a lot of mana to keep this, and the land does not even tap for mana. Usually lands do tap for mana. We don't have to see things like Diamond Valley and Maze of Ith being reprinted these days. And this card says that creatures have Defender, which means that no creature is allowed to attack. Because attacking is too violent for kids. Sad face.